Hello, and welcome to what should be a very fun day of a little bit of Raptors talk as the trade deadline is quickly looming, fast approaching, and we got lots to talk about given our favorite team from Toronto right now, as the Leafs have been major disappointments lately. I'm not going to lie. They've been crap in the bed every single big game they have, and it's becoming harder and harder to cheer for them regularly because it's just annoying as a fan if we're gonna be honest. I got a text from one of my best friends, Nick, and he said after the Knights game, and the Leafs lose the biggest game of the season yet again, it really just it hurt because he was right, like he was on the money, and I didn't want him to be right. But there we go. Yeah, it's been tough. So we're gonna talk mostly about the Raptors today, and I don't have the graphic up because shout out to my father who made me a classic on paper live stream topic list. So it's just gonna be me here talking to y'all, just one-on-one. So I can't wait. It's gonna be a very fun time, a very fun stream, and one of my favorite players in the league potentially coming to the Raptors. As if you don't know, Domantas Sabonis, he's been one of my guys for a long time. I traded for him in fantasy basketball back when he was injured. I felt like he was the perfect buy low candidate, but he's still very much so a buy low candidate. I haven't gotten any value out of him yet. I think he's played one game. Sorry if you hear the cat in the background. He's adamant on coming inside. But he's played, I think, one game for us so far, or for my fantasy team. I can't even remember. But he is a guy that is a bona fide 20, 10, and 8 per game. He's, again, one of the most consistent big men in the game. Not the greatest defensively. He is very much so like a better JV. Like, imagine Jonas Valanciunas was a better playmaker. And that's basically Sabonis. He's been playing again lately. He actually had his most recent 31-minute played game. That was against Cleveland, where he put up 24 points, 6 rebounds, 16 assists. He is a monster on the glass. He's my number one guy I want. Just personally, what I've been thinking forever. Some of his best seasons were 7th and 8th place in MVP voting. He actually came 10th in Defensive Player of the Year. So, excuse me, I'm being disrespectful by clowning on his defensive abilities. But in his best season, he averaged a league-leading 13.7 rebounds per game. That's the big, bold number for you. He also put up 19.4 points and 8 assists per game in his best season. He went a 3-year stretch, 2022 to 2025, where he led the league in rebounding. I mean, this is a guy we need for this team. He's going to be so much help with a guy like Scotty Barnes down low, where Scotty Barnes can focus all on blocking or stopping the shot, and he can gobble up the rebound and slang that thing forward. I really like just the thought. I love the thought of Sabonis coming in. He's easily my number one guy, especially with the new news that came out, which is bad news, as Giannis Antetokounmpo is set to miss, I think it was 3 to 6 weeks, which means that he's going to be injured for trade season. So he's a buck no matter what. Sucks, because that was easily the number one guy. Let's not kid ourselves here. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, Sabonis will have to do in the meantime. I do quite like Sabonis, and he's 29 years old. He's turning 30 this season. That's plenty young. I mean, we're going for a playoff push. We're going for a playoff run. I mean, we're currently 3rd in the East. It is looking great. So that's easily my number one guy. But continuing on here, the trade deadline is February 5th, 3 p.m. And so there's some reporting here from Raps reporter Josh Lewenberg. He works for TSN. Most of this is from either Twitter or the TSN website, where he thinks Bobby Webster, our GM for the Toronto Raptors, will act like Ujiri used to, which means patiently and not aggressive. Translation, it means he's going to sit on his assets and most likely not trade them and then let them walk for free or get way diminished returns like OG, like Siakam, like Norman Powell, Gary Trent Jr. We could have traded him when he was worth more, like Fred VanVleet. Let's see, who could we go going? Chris Boucher, we could have moved. I mean, it's a guy we could have gotten a pick for. Any one of these guys. Kyle Lowry, we didn't trade in the year where he did the double peace sign and we kept them. And that was an awkward year. And I'm not advocating for trading all your best players, all your stars, but when the time comes to do so, you got to do it. It's just something to think about. It's a big point with Masai Ujiri back in the day, and it's going to be an even bigger point. And then we're seeing here could turn 1 or 2 long-term contracts plus a pick into a major upgrade. The less likely option, and then Sabonis is listed here, and obviously that's my guy. And then later on, my dad wrote, leans more to them picking up depth big, a.k.a. 2 smaller moves rather than 1 big move. I mean, Mamu was one of those smaller depth bigs, and he's turned into one of the key players for this team. So I'm not saying this is a bad choice. I'm just a guy who loves to bring in a star, especially in a sport like basketball, where stars run the league, rule the world. It is such a crucial advantage to having a top 30, top 20. In Domantas Sabonis' case, in my top 20. We'll go top 20, sometimes top 15, but I don't know. I don't know if he's even better than Scotty Barnes, if we're being honest with each other. Anyways, listed here are a couple guys that we could get, those small names listed. Some of those other targets look like Goga Bitadze, a guy who plays for the Magic and I feel like has always deserved to be playing more minutes. Every single time this guy gets a starting spot, he becomes the number 1 most added player in fantasy basketball. And there's a reason for that. The Georgian big man, when given minutes, is insanely good, insanely valuable. His blocks per game this year is 1.2 on 16 minutes. Imagine this guy was playing 30. Imagine what this guy could do if we genuinely gave him a shot. Last season, he put up 7.2. Keep in mind, he's a backup. He put up 7.2, 6.6 with 1.4 blocks. You're telling me you don't want that guy? And the Orlando Magic, for whatever reason, keep playing other big men than him. It's crazy to me. Crazy. I guess they've had Wendell Carter Jr. They had Mo Bamba, who we now have. And he's just been around. Since 2022, 2023, he's been in Orlando, and before then was Indiana. So he's an Eastern Conference guy through and through. Looking at some of his best games that he's had in his career, just sorting it by game score here, he put up 23 points, 9 rebounds, 3 steals, 1 block in a game where he got the opportunity to start in 26 minutes. Like, if we want to find a game where he was a backup and had a great game, in 20 minutes played, he had 15, 6, and 3. That's a thing that he could do regularly given opportunity, given 25-plus minutes per game. He's a guy I really would love to bring in. If you are not aware of Goga Bitadze, educate yourself. It's a very fun time going through his stats pages and just seeing how impressive some of his stats are. Speaking of which, I'll pull it up on the screen right here. We'll put it on this side. No, we won't. We'll put it on this side, and then we'll duck over here. So, looking first, these are his top games that he has played. I sorted this by rebounds, keep in mind, not points. In some of his top games, given minutes, 31 minutes, 16. And this list goes on. Keep in mind, backup big man, his whole life. This game, 14 minutes played, 10 rebounds. Again, that's 3 fouls, but 6 points, 3 blocks. Those are steals. Great guy to bring in. Love Goga Bitadze. Love me some Goga Bitadze. Think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. Shifting this over to not cover me. His top point games are not as good. His career high is 23. not who he is as a player. In that game where he had 23, again, 3 steals, 1 block. In this game, 21 and 16. In this game, 29, 1 and 1. Love me some Goga Badase. He's one of the more underrated players in the league, so having his name listed is huge. Huge if we could pick up a guy like that. If that is a small move, I'm going to be a lot happier than I think most Raptor fans, because I'm a weird stan for this guy, Goga Badase. Another guy I see listed here, I don't know if it actually is. I talked to my dad. He just saw the name and replies. But Day'Ron, and that makes me think it's Day'Ron Sharpe from the Brooklyn Nets. A guy that is very young, I think 24, 25 years old. He is about 6'9", smaller center, but we've had guys like Keem Birch, who was 6'9", and put up fine minutes for us in the past, so I could chance it. He's a guy that definitely has more of an interior style of game and hopefully would protect the paint better, but given his size, not so much so a guy that I want to rely on. Some of the other names here that are listed would be a guy like Miles Turner. That's where we're starting to shoot up a little bit more. And then Malik Monk, he would be a very fun one. A really nice ball handler, but not something I feel like we are particularly in need of. Same with John Morant and Shane Sharp. Shane Sharp's the most exciting one because he's Canadian. Would love to bring in another Canadian guy. And I like him a lot more than John Morant. Way more efficient, a lot bigger, equally as bad defensively, but there's a lot more depth to his game. So I'm a big Shane Sharp guy. So that's one of the big, those are the smaller other pieces. The big pieces are, of course, Domantas Sabonis and Anthony Davis. Now, given Anthony Davis' injury history, the Raptors are saying that they don't think they're going to go for him. They're not a team that likes to trade for injured players. In my mind, if we could get Anthony Davis for April and May and June, it's kind of it's like a worse Kawhi trade, honestly. If we could get him for just a playoff run, it might be enough to put us over the hump if he is like the AD, the 2012 first-round pick who won in 2020 and was good before he got injured. Who knows? But I kind of agree with everyone else that says, hey, let's not sign this perennially injured guy. They have a point. The other guy, of course, is Sabonis. I love Sabonis. Now that Giannis is off the table, he has to be our number one. And the big package that I'm seeing floated around and written down on my sheet of paper here is RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, and 1 or 2 first-round picks. And yes, if that's the offer and that's all it takes, you do that trade yesterday. You do that trade at the drop of a dime. Because as much as I like RJ Barrett, his scoring could be easily made up for with Sabonis. And Sabonis is a ball-handling big man. He would take a lot of pressure off of guys like Brandon Ingram, whereas RJ Barrett kind of does his own thing. And while the team has been doing light years better with him there, I think we could be doing something even better than light years. I shouldn't have used that word. I should have used marginally better with him there. They would be light years better with Sabonis. Now I'm seeing other potential Raptors offered are Emmanuel Quickley. He is on such a hot stretch right now. If you're not paying attention to the box scores most night, like I am because I fall asleep in the middle of the first half, I'll be honest, most of these 10 p.m. games, I am falling asleep at halftime, and then I need to catch up on the second half with highlights and box score watching, which is bad. Bad fan, I'm admitting right now. Bad fan moment. But just box score watching. Since the 40-point game for Emmanuel Quickley, he had 18, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, and then 20 points, 7 assists, 8 rebounds. He's so good. He's been so good lately. Please take him off our hands, other teams' GMs, because I would love to see him wearing a different jersey. So those are the big guys that are being offered. Some of the other names thrown around are Grady Dick, which, yeah, fair, honestly. Given how we're playing him this year, I want him to have opportunity here in Toronto, but if he needs to go spread his wings elsewhere, he needs to go spread his wings elsewhere. And then, of course, picks, which is expected with, any trade for a big name in the modern NBA. You're going to have to send picks. Unless it's Trae Young and his horrible contract, then you're the Wizards and you can do whatever you want with Atlanta because what an unwinnable situation. I'm so used to crapping on the Falcons here that the Hawks are kind of getting a little bit of strays here, but what an unwinnable situation. You had Luka Doncic, and you traded him for Trae Young and like 2 other first-round picks. That turned into nothing. So I think one of those actually turned into a Nyaka Okongwu. I'm not certain. Let's find out. Who did the Hawks draft? Because I think one of them was AJ Griffin, who retired, I think, 2 years into his career to go be a pastor, which he was a really good three-point shooter. It's too bad. Well, not too bad. Good for him. Do your thing. But it's too bad for the Atlanta Hawks. They lost the guy. I'm reading this article. It's not telling me who they picked. It's a bad trade, though. I'm looking up the Luka Doncic trade, and half of these articles are like, the final piece of Hawks' humiliating Luka Doncic trade was just finalized after. Atlanta selected Cam Reddish, who was later traded for Kevin Knox and a lottery-protected first. The Hornets didn't have to send the first because they missed the playoffs, and Kevin Knox is out of the league. And Cam Reddish is pretty close to being out of the league, too. And then the other trade... Oof, that's bad. Yeah, that's about it. That's all they got. So officially, the Atlanta Hawks traded Luka Doncic for CJ McCollum, Corey Kispert, and Kevin Knox. Sorry, Atlanta. I'm sorry. Anyone who's a Hawks fan, I don't think you're real anyways. I don't think the Hawks have any real fans. But that's a fate worse than death. And so, but we're on out of things to talk about. Some of the other trade candidates. I will just look at the NBA trade candidate board just to see any other names that I'm not mentioning. Anyone else that, springs to mind and I think, oh, I want that guy. I would love to have that guy. Because, of course, Giannis, now injured, can't get him. Sabonis, number 1 guy now. Anthony Davis, injured, don't want him. I'm good. That's about it. Like Kristaps Porzingis from Atlanta? No, I'm good. You already know how I feel about the Hawks. And that's like all I'm feeling, There's Nick Claxton from the Nets. If he could stay healthy, that would be a great addition. Great defensive big man. Jared Allen from the Cavs. If he's for sale, absolutely bring him in. He's on a $20 million contract, so we could probably make that work just with Pirtle and picks. Why would the Cavs do that? I don't know. They wouldn't. Some other guys are like Daniel Gafford making $14 million on the Mavericks. I love me some Daniel Gafford. Similar to Goga Bitadze, he would put up great rebound and block numbers if given a bigger opportunity. He, of course, has been given good opportunity in Dallas, and I feel like is shining with it. Of course, Robert Williams III, if he was healthy, he would be a candidate, but he's never healthy. And then, yeah, that's about where the list ends. Day'Ron Sharpe, that's it. And that's about it for today's stream, talking about the Raptors coming off a huge win against Portland. We have a fun stretch coming up with I'm covered by the mic, with 2 main events, with 2 primetime games. So the game against the Thunder is going to be a huge one, and then the Knicks and the Magic games are both at 7:30. The NBA is showing the Raptors love that they deserve. And then we have the Jazz and the Timberwolves both at home. I like our odds against the Jazz. Timberwolves, that's going to be one of those tests. Can we beat Anthony Edwards? I definitely will be doing a stream after that and most likely be talking about every last game here. So make sure you subscribe to the CollingsThodeNetwork. Hit that bell icon. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, peace.